Your company, and I'm going to stick with that example right there, culpable conduct. Your company along the ship channel, City of Houston hit you multiple times already. You paid the fine. City of Houston's told you over and over and over, you've got an issue, you need to correct it, you pay the fine, and you keep doing it. Okay, well, let's say you pay the fine. So the City of Houston dicker down and talk. Hey, we got a situation here. You got this company that's keep doing it over and over and over. And here's the irony of it. Not only have you kept doing it over and over and over, but the manager has went to jail for it. Got out of jail, back to his old tricks. We've seen it before. They paid multiple fines for the same thing over and over. They went to jail for it, but what do? The company, the owner of the company comes out, changes the name of the company to a sham name, and does the same thing. Deliberate misconduct resulted in a violation. That speaks for itself. One of the things we love the most is tampering with monitoring or control equipment. I've seen situations where you're required, again, you're going to see pursuant to your permit, to have monitoring or control equipment. Specifically, let's say a sampling piece of equipment. And let's say your permit specifically states you were supposed to have this sampler outside a specific piece of equipment that's supposed to run 24/7. You know you're in violation. Knowledge. You're going to keep doing it. Intent. So what do? Because you know that you have to submit these records to the proper governmental entity, whether it be the city, county, state, or feds. But you know you're in a violation, so you submit falsified records. Another issue. So what do to ensure that whenever the government entity comes and check it periodically, because you have a history of repeated violations, you cut the line. I've seen it before. You got companies that are outright cutting the line, so you can't get accurate records. Then it becomes to a he said, she said, or as Dicker said earlier, the rogue employee. Okay, well, how long has this problem been going on? Company manager. Okay, well, how long have you? Okay, well, my next question is, if you've had this problem with this rogue employee, how long have you been submitting these records to the city, or to the county, or to the feds? My next person I'm going to interview, I'm going to interview like the government employee. I'm going to ask about, like, how is your relationship with this company? Have they been adversarial to you? I'll go through the overall scheme of everything. This is all going towards again. And keep in mind, when I'm doing all these things, I'm documenting in a report. I'm building a case. I'm building a case. It goes towards knowledge and intent. Everything that I do, I submit to a prosecutor. I submit whether to city, to the district attorney's office, to a federal prosecutor. I'm building up in cases, and they're going to ask me. I'm going to give them the whole case file and say, here's what it is. Here's what happened. Here's the whole story. And I'm interviewing everybody. Now, let me say some things that I haven't said earlier. There are a lot of tools that we have in our toolbox. While you're doing these things, I can have the ability to do surveillance on you. Whether it be night, day, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We have the ability, if need be, to subpoena your bank records. If the situation calls for it, which sign off, with probable cause and signed by a judge, if need be, a wiretap, if the situation gets that bad. I mean, there are tools, because we've had cases where we've had to wiretap people. And people say, what, environmental cases? Yeah, you got some cases that get really bad. Just keep in mind, these are one of the cases, environmental cases, this was stuff to go boom. You got some stuff out there that can kill you that has no smell, touch, taste whatsoever. So there's a lot of things that we can do at our disposal. And again, this is not trying to scare or intimidate anybody. I'm giving everybody the facts. I want you all to know, because again, the goal of any government, whether it be the city, county, state, or feds, is we want people to be in compliance. I want you to be in compliance. Because I'm going to be very honest with you, I got a full plate. Please don't think if you're going to be in compliance, I'm going to be out of a job. I got a full plate. But the point about it is, I'm not the person you want to see at your front door. I'm not coming with a pen and with a notepad. I'm coming from a criminal aspect. And either I'm going to have a search warrant, I'm going to interview you, or if the situation presents itself, an arrest warrant. I'm giving you facts. In addition to those environmental crimes, like I was saying earlier, EPA is unique in the sense where we have other crimes that you just don't do the environmental crime like dump hazardous waste into the water system, whatever. You have those other crimes that, for ease of purpose, we call the 18 USC. It's called a 1,000 lying, cheating, and stealing. That's where you're going to do an additional crime in addition to the environmental crime. You're going to lie about what you did. You're going to cheat on your reporting of your documentation, or you're going to steal in some kind of capacity. Now, let me give you some examples of those 18 USC 1001 crimes. Again, if you know I'm investigating you, and you know you got a problem, and what are you going to do? More than likely, I've had cases where the facility, if they know they're being investigated and they're trying to cover up the crime, they burn down the building. Guess what? You still got to send records in at some point. You've had to more than likely send records in at some point in the past. It just doesn't look, because that's what the arson team is for. I mean, it makes my job more difficult, but eventually I'm going to do what I need to do. Conspiracy. I mean, conspiracy is when two people get together and say they're going to do. That could be a situation, a very bad situation in itself. Mail fraud, like I was saying earlier, when you know that you've done something wrong, and you know you got a problem with your facility, and you know that you falsify your documentation, and you know that you have to submit it to the proper governmental entity, and you sign the documentation and send it to the mail. I got you an 18 USC charge for mail fraud because you know to sign a falsified document and send it to the mail. Wire fraud, same thing. You know to sign falsified documentation, send it via email or fax. Same thing. We tack on not just in the environmental charge, but again, the focus of this is water. Not in addition to the water charge, we're going to tack on that appropriate 18 USC charge for that. And obstruction of justice. If I'm interviewing someone, and I'm going to use, what's your name, sir? Mac. If I'm interviewing Mac is the owner of Mac Enterprises. And Mac finds out there's an investigation against his company on the ship channel. And he knows that, it's not looking good. He knows what he did was wrong. Mac knows that I'm going to interview, I'm lining up all his workers, and I'm systematically interviewing all of his employees. Mac tells employee A, you can talk to Adrian if you want to. You will not have a job come tomorrow. And if I get that confirmed, obstruction of justice. He's obstructing my investigation. I can hit him with that charge. So there's other charges in addition to just the environmental that I can add on during the course of a criminal investigation. So again, as I'm saying these things, I want to be very, very clear. I'm unique in the sense where what I do is strictly criminal. Now, EPA is unique in the sense where a lot of the federal law enforcement agencies do not have a civil side to it. EPA does. But I think in a sense that's good because environmental crimes are so complex. I mean, we can take up to 5 years working on one case because our cases are so big. My average, a big environmental caseload is 7 cases. I mean, that's like massive because some of these corporations and things are just so big and complex, that is the most you can do. I mean, the average EPA agent carries 4 cases. I currently carry 7. So, because they're just so big and complex. But we rely heavily on our in-house legal counsel, our civil inspectors, our technicians, our chemists, physicists, because these things are very, technically oriented. Task force concept. Like I was saying earlier, everything we do is on the task force. Resource constraints, information sharing, just everything. Everything we do is based on the task force. When it comes down to prosecution, from the vast majority of our cases on the federal side are prosecuted from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Of course, the local U.S. Attorney's Office here is downtown Houston. I mean, that's where the vast majority of our cases, they're the ones we prepare the whole case, the investigation. And what we do is, unlike what you see on television, and let me just stop right now. Please, whatever you want to see on television about CSI, Law and Order, and all that NCIS, with all that magic screen, that stuff don't happen in real life. Let me just clarify right now. You can't get DNA evidence back in 5 minutes. Let me just stop you all right there. It takes a lot of hard work. It just don't happen. But what we do is we try to get the prosecutor involved early, because it's a teamwork process. You know, it's a teamwork. But from the Fed side, we use the U.S. Attorney's Office. But there is another facet that what we have when the U.S. Attorney's Office does not have the resources or the technical ability. There's a segment of the Department of Justice out of D.C. They have something called the Environmental Crime Section. These are also attorneys for the Department of Justice, but all they do, they are based out of D.C., but they travel nationwide. They live on planes. They travel more than salesmen do. I mean, and they are attorneys that all they do is focus on environmental crimes. That's all they do. So they call it DOJ's Environmental Crime Section, ECS. And also the District Attorney's Office, which we're fortunate to have a great man, Roger Hazen. I mean, as a matter of fact, I was speaking with Roger on a case 2 weeks ago. I mean, we take the feds, keep in mind, the feds take their cases to state just as quick as 1, 2, 3. Let's not, that line about feds strictly stick to Fed, don't know. We go wherever we get our case prosecuted. And again, it's about a report factor. Wherever we get our case prosecuted, and because we have great relationships, we take it anywhere we can get it prosecuted. But from working from a law enforcement standpoint, we have Interpol, the International Police Organization, worldwide agency. You're going to see later on, like in a few minutes, I have a fugitive who I'm working with Interpol right now. I can't say where he is, but I've been working with Interpol for the last couple of months to track him down. He's in a very bad area, but with the help of Interpol, I think I may have found him. We work with various other federal agencies. JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force. When I was in Detroit, I actually ran with the Joint Terrorism Task Force where we actually used to hunt down terrorists. I mean, again, keep in mind, everything works on a task force capacity. People say, why in the world would you have an EPA agent on a JTTF? Well, we're the agency that are the experts on environment. And a lot of terrorists are using environmental things. And we are the one that has expertise on chemistry, biological warfare, WMD, all that kind of stuff. Texas Environmental Crimes Task Force, that's who I work with primarily. Whether it be TC, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, Parks and Wildlife, they are primarily my co-agents on all my cases. I mean, the feds and the state, we work heavily on me. Again, they're the joints on all my cases. Again, resources tight, information sharing. That line, how it used to be in the past, is different state. That's going like we stick to each other. That don't happen. Not here. It just doesn't work. I mean, it just does not happen. And we are heavily involved with the Houston Ship Channel Initiative because, again, we have an office in HPD's office. Primarily one of our other agents in the office, who I name I won't give, he primarily sits in HPD's office all the time. So we all work together, we talk, but you would be surprised the amount of information, because we do work in a task force capacity. It's pretty incredible. Environmental Protection and Human Right to Know Act. What all this means in a nutshell, that's the right, that's the act saying you have a right to know what's going on in your community. In a nutshell, you have a right to know what's going on in your community. I can't put it more straightforward than that. Yeah, of course, in government, everything has an acronym, but you have the right to know what's going on inside of your community.